Happy Pride, bitches! Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Hello, my name is Rennie. It is so good to meet you. And if you're returning, hi, welcome back. I missed you and I hope you're doing well. Anyways, happy Pride! For today's video, as you can tell by the title, we are doing a how I knew I was a lesbian. So this is gonna be like a mixture of story time-ish plus like a get ready with me. So it is Pride Month, it's June 2nd when I'm filming this. I actually wore this today, but Daddy, I love her. I really like this shirt and I feel like I'm wearing a very Y2K outfit today. So we're going to do kind of like a spunky look. It's not just obviously, it's gonna be gay, you know, because this is like a pride look, but it's gonna be kind of like for my outfit. Because I'm wearing these type of like, you know, kind of high-waisted, the old, you know, Y2K leggings. So yeah, I'm wearing very, what's it called? Primary colors, I think. But anyways, I have a mirror right here. So if I'm looking this way, I'm looking at the mirror to do my makeup. But yeah, let's just get on into it. So I have my hair tied back in this lovely little situation. I was gonna put this on, but like, look at how much makeup is on this. Kind of don't want to put it on my face. I was like cleaning earlier today and oof. So how I realized I was a lesbian. I originally did a video that said how I realized I was gay, and I think I did that like probably 3 years ago now. Yeah, I've had my channel for 3 years, which is insane. I've had at least this channel for 3 years, but yeah. So anyways, had this video, I did that, and then I kind of like identified as queer and like kind of put on the title queer. And this is before like I really knew what queer meant, so bear with me on that. Short little definition on queer. Queer is kind of like an ambiguous term, but also a political term. Politically, it's kind of representing, it's like an identity of representing loudly the community around you. So, I mean, anybody that is protesting, celebrating Pride, really speaking out about queer issues and just like LGBTQ plus related issues can identify as queer. And queer that is not political and used just as a sexual orientation or sexuality is basically kind of like, it doesn't really fit like a specific category. It's a more open, broader term. So it really is like kind of more of a sexually fluid like identity in a sense. It's like at least the only way I can describe it. But yeah, so that's like kind of like the vibe. And like when I was kind of like first like being like really like pretty loud about like being, well, I guess not pretty loud, but like being like playing around with the term lesbian, I also used the term queer. And I used it definitely like on YouTube mainly, and kind of just threw in like lesbian here and there, not really like super loud about it as much as I am now. So yeah, potato, you know, that was the way it was. This is the way it is now. People change, things change, people evolve, things evolve. So getting into how I kind of just started to realize, obviously I'm not going to be able to tell you my entire life story within like 20 minutes, but I'm going to try my hardest to touch on the points that were really big. If you want me to do a part 2 or whatever, we can do that. We can talk about that. We can do that. We can make that happen. So yeah, so I would say when I was like around 7, like one incident, well, incident makes it sound bad. One thing I was like very, I guess, drawn to, well, I guess I should say person I was drawn to, was when I was around like 7, I went to this thing called the rec center. Rec centers are around like everywhere. I used to live in a really like small conservative town, so it was very kind of like nobody talked about being gay. Nobody like was openly gay. And like me being 7, I knew kind of from a young age to like camouflage. And not even just because I was different in the sense of my sexuality, but different in the sense of like I had an IEP growing up, so I was already kind of like different. I used to get pulled out for like tests and stuff. And like honestly, like now me talking about that, you're probably like sitting here being like, Rennie, like that's like so like random and like oh like whatever, but it like I did get bullied for having an IEP, and I didn't know fully I was gay. I just kind of had these like little inklings kind of sprinkled throughout my journey. So we're gonna zoom in a little closer so you can see the eyes. We're starting with the eyes first. So when I was 7, I had this camp counselor named Brooke. And I remember her to this day because she was like I had the fattest crush on her, and I definitely would not have known that. Like, or I didn't, I guess, like realize that much when I was that age. Like, all I knew is that I loved being around her. I loved being around her. I loved when she would hug me. I loved, like, she was just, you know, like an older kind of like probably early 20s, probably like what I am now, an early 20-something-year-old that is just trying to make money during the summer and realized this one little girl like didn't really have that many friends, so she was just being nice. And I had like kind of like a, oh my god, I want to be around Brooke. I like, you know, want Brooke's attention, like, oh my god, you know. And it wasn't just for being like her. I thought for a while I wanted just to be her, but I, you know, in actuality really wanted to be with her, but I didn't really have those words. And obviously she was like so much older than me, so like that was not gonna happen. So that was like one. I like got really upset when my parents like wouldn't have her be my babysitter. I was very upset. I was very really discouraged, distressed about that. So whatever, that happens. Next little thing, little inkling was just kind of like how I was around like boys. When I was growing up, I was always told like, oh, she's a little heartbreaker, that one right there. Or, oh, she's always, you know, she's gonna be so pretty when she grows up, like her and, you know, all the boys' heads are gonna turn when they see her coming. And it was that whole like rhetoric. And I was so like, I craved that, and I started kind of wanting that idea of like a guy to want me and like being desired. Like I didn't really know what desire was compared to like being like just being into a fact of like prioritizing a man's love over anything. Like I remember I had this friend, and like I always could like tell like if somebody was pretty or not pretty or like cute or whatever. So like I could tell when like guys were cute, and like I kind of just assumed if I thought a guy was cute, that meant I liked him. Like there was nothing else. Like it was like, oh, he looks good, I like him, I'm attracted to him, that's gonna be my boyfriend. And that was kind of the whole like area and vibe I was in during that time in my life and like throughout grade school. And I always like would watch like Pretty Little Liars, and I was obsessed with Spencer Hastings, but I was also obsessed with like her relationship with Toby and like all these other things. But then like there would be like little inklings of like gay things that would be thrown in front of me, and I would take it and I would, obviously consume it. Like, I remember for a minute when I saw Emily and Maya getting together, like, I was like, oh. And that, like, was my, like, a favorite couple for a while. But then, like, I shifted it to, like, a heterosexual couple because, like, I was obsessed with the girl who played Spencer Hastings because I thought she was like the beautifulest, prettiest girl in the whole world. And I like was just obsessed with her, and like, I just, again, another situation where it was like, do I want to be her or do I want to be with her? And it was like, oh, did I realize this, And I remember my mom, like, and dad knew that I was obsessed with, like, Spencer Hastings, and, like, I shipped that couple a lot. And my mom got me signed autographs by the girl who plays Spencer and the guy who plays Toby. And I was so like, why would you get me a shirtless guy photo? And I just like kind of was just like, okay. And I like put it up on my wall because I was like, oh, I ship like the two of them. But like, I mean, from afar, I guess you would say I looked like I really liked him. But in actuality, I kind of just was doing, like, I hate to say it, I hate to make it sound so like I don't have agency, but it wasn't like I didn't have agency, it was just like I didn't have like a clue, really. Like, it's like when I had like the idea of like I could potentially be into girls, it would like disappear, because I would be like, that's not me, that couldn't be me, you're funny, that literally couldn't be me. I'm dating guys, I'm actively boy crazy and have crushes, and honestly, the boy crazy lesbian or the boy crazy girl to lesbian pipeline is a huge thing. I definitely know I'm not the only one on that, but for a while I was in adolescence, I was running around with these things. But getting into like my relationships with like guys that were in my like grade and stuff, I had a friend, and we were pretty close. Like, the whole idea of being like desired, like wanting to be desired and like wanting to be like seen as like, all these things could honestly have stemmed from insecurity. And also just like, I think that was my only way of getting myself to be like okay with like dating guys. And like, also I just like lived for like the fantasy of it, not like the actuality. It was like I wanted to be desired, but once I was desired and I was in the relationship, I was either bored and there was no chase, there was no game, there was nothing. They wanted me to be with them, to, do all the coupley things, and I was just like, it's like, whatever, like, this is boring, and I would dump them. Or I would be really uncomfortable because they would want to do, like kiss or like make out or whatever. And it was like, I just felt like I was so, like, I was performing, like I was a character. I wasn't me, if that makes any sense. Like, I guess, like, I was working with what I got at the time, what I had, but I was very not myself, and I didn't really know how to be myself in a space where I didn't even have the right words for it. And that was really hard because a lot of people around me were like losing their virginities, like even in like middle school, like people were already like losing their V cards, and I would say a late bloomer in that because I like didn't have that desire to, like, anytime I got a boyfriend, it would last for like a month or two, and then it would get too serious, and I would opt out, and I didn't want to do it, and I didn't want to be there, and I didn't, like, it would either get too serious to the extent where I didn't want to go further, or just like there were so many things, and mainly just like didn't feel right. Like, I remember I didn't really have a type, really. Like, it was like if I was watching like Vampire Diaries or like Twilight, I was obsessed with Twilight. I was obsessed with the romance of Twilight. But for a while I thought, oh, I want an Edward and I want to be Bella. And then kind of like I would like try to live in that fantasy, but then I would get to the moment of like, I had a boyfriend in high school, and he's never gonna see this, I don't think. He was so into me, and it was like, I had known that he was like hooking up with girls. Like, I had known he was like so into me. Like, he wanted us to like get together like that. And it wasn't even the fact that I wasn't ready, because when I tell you, when I first lost my virginity, like TMI, but like I let that go like that, right when it was with my first ever girlfriend. Like, I didn't even know her really for that long, and I was like, yeah, let's get together, like, I don't care. Like, I'm down, I'm ready. But like with a guy, I was like, oh no, actually, let's like chill, let's think about it, let's not be here right now. Yeah, like, I just remember he was like so obsessed with me, and I remember one time we were in the hallway of like our high school, and he was like trying to like do PDA, and I like was not having it. Like, I wanted him to like get off me, like, don't touch me, like, you're like, give me some space, bro. This is what it's looking like so far. It does dry a little bit, and we're gonna do our base on this side, and then we'll like go over there. But yeah, like, I wanted space. Like, I wanted a lot of space, and I just felt like I was so drained. And he, like, I remember he was like, why won't you just love me, like, in public, like, in front of the, like, it was a small ass school, like, probably like 500 kids went there at max. So like a lot of people saw this, and it was embarrassing, to say the least, very embarrassing. And I was like, oh my God, get like off the ground, like, stop being dramatic, to him. And he like was so upset. And I remember like this dude, like, he did the most. Like, he got me flowers. He was just really like trying to like be like, what's it called, like the it guy that was on the high school, what's it called, football team. And then like he wanted like a girl that was gonna be on Palms or a cheerleader or something. And I like wasn't fulfilling that fantasy for him, and that like pissed him off, or that idea. And for a while I thought I wanted that, but I was really like kind of like pushing down feelings I had. And like I would see girls that I thought were very pretty, and I just like wouldn't even like bat an eye. Like, I remember I saw, like, okay, in middle school I had this friend, we've made up. I'm not gonna share her identity, obviously, but we both were like, like, we were really close friends. And she actually like stayed with me a lot. Like, she'd have sleepovers, she'd always be at my place, she'd always, have like situations where she would be here because she wasn't having a really good home life. And I like wanted to protect her from that. And not in like a, oh, like a friend way. Like, I wanted to protect her in like a I like you type way. And looking back on it, it's very obvious now, but before it really wasn't. Also, like, just the whole idea of like having a boyfriend was like a huge concept, because like I feel like my parents really like wanted me to have a specific type of life when I was growing up. And not like saying that it's like their fault or whatever. Like I think every parent wants their kid to like succeed in life, and they knew the atmosphere and dynamic of people that went to this school. So like no shit, they're gonna like be like, yeah, Reddy, you should try out for this. Yeah, Reddy, you should do this. Like, yeah, like go out on a date with a guy. Like, you know, my mom was a pom. She wanted me to be a pom. Like it was a whole thing. So anyways, when I got into my, my junior year of high school, I had my last ever boyfriend, and he was pretty different from the type I had gone for. I like would do this thing where I would just like pick at random like who I wanted to go for next. And like again, like if I found somebody like aesthetically attractive, I just kind of assumed I had a crush on them. And that's kind of like how it felt with like pretty much every guy. Or like if a guy gave me attention, like positive or negative, I thought they liked me, and I just kind of like went with it even though it would feel like shit. And I really hope that's like a similar experience, or if you're watching this and you relate, I hope that you know like you're not alone on that, because that was definitely something that I had to realize, like, this doesn't feel good. Why am I going for this? Like, why do I want to feel like shit, you know? So yeah, so I had like, I just kind of like went for it regardless. Going back to that story, when I was in my junior year, I met this guy, and he just like, he like smiled at me, and I like automatically was like, you know what, that's the right one. Like, we're gonna pick this one, and we're gonna go for this one, because it seems like he likes me. And like, it's like I crave that attention, that validation. It was so weird. Like looking back on it, like I feel like I would like, it was like a switch. I would like turn it on and then like turn it off, where I was like, oh, I'm so like into you. And then I would like not be. Like there was never like a moment where I was like fully in it. Like I think a lot of the time I was dissociating or like on autopilot. And like now, like being with my girlfriend, I'm with her and we're almost together for 2 years. And like ever since I started dating women, like it's felt so different and so much like a breath of fresh air compared to dating men. I remember with that guy, like I had this like huge pressure to like have sex and lose my virginity, because I was like, I need to lose my virginity. Like everyone else has done it, I need to do it. And I don't know. I was very adamant on having a timeline for it. And I was like, everybody else has, like, I'm just gonna get it over with, like, whatever. And so like I talked up a lot like of my like stuff. I was like, yeah, we're like gonna get together, and like we literally planned like a lot of stuff. And I like had this girl that I was really into that like pretty much was like where I couldn't shove down my feelings anymore. Had a boyfriend, and you know, was definitely never gonna give me the time of day, because I don't think she like really liked girls like that. And I don't think that she saw me in that way. I was very like hurt by that. So I ended up trying to hook up with this guy, and we tried, but we like got closer and closer to doing it. And in that moment I was like, wait, stop, like I'm good, like actually no, like let's not do this. And he was like, oh, okay, like, you know. And like again, like he wasn't like a bad guy, he just kind of like, he really liked me. And again, it's like I was always trying to figure out if I liked them. Like it always just felt like a fucking math equation. And like with women, it's so different, where it's like I don't have this like, oh, am I into them or am I not? You know, like when I first like met my first ever girlfriend, she texted me, we talked a little bit, and then we literally ended up like getting together. And like, you know, it was just so interesting, like the dynamics of like sexuality, like, and how like sexual intimacy yeah, sexual intimacy and stuff, because like hooking up with a girl versus hooking up with a guy, so different. And very like, it just felt right. Okay, so I just put Aquaphor on because I think it doesn't need really like a crazy lip, but my lips are a little bit more defined. We're gonna fix our hair. Literally just gonna brush her out because I haven't had her down in a hot moment. Okay, so we're going to pick out some earrings. I know this looks crazy, but it's what I be having my stuff in. So I'm gonna go in with these as my little backs because I have 2 piercings. So I'm gonna do like the ones that hold down the fort. My seconds, like this. And then I'm gonna go in with these, which are so fucking cute. Focus. They're a little rainbow. I'm gonna wear this as well because I am an astrology gay. It's the star, it's a tarot card. So this is the look. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed yapping and sharing my deepest, darkest secrets. Just kidding. I don't think, like, obviously you can't put an entire life's worth of experiences into one 20-something minute video. So anyways, like I said, I could do another one if this is interesting. And yeah, but other than that, this is the start of Pride. I'm really, really freaking excited. It's my first Pride in California, which is gonna be sick. And yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day or night or wherever you are. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below to see more of my future content. And yeah, I mean, check out my social medias if you want, plug in the description below. And yeah, I love you so much and I will see you later. Mwah. Peace.